Hello, and thank you so much for joining us for your ROH post show for August 3rd. Is ROH back? I was just asking Reg that right before we got on air because we had a really strong episode tonight, which I'm so excited to talk about. Guys, get in your super chats, get in your humper chats, stick around for the Impact post show that goes on right after this with the wonderful Cresta star and Joel. If you have not seen Cresta's video of her trying on some church wigs, my God, follow that woman on Instagram and TikTok. She is a hoot, and you'll get to hear all about what Impact brought to you. But before we get into that, I've got some favors to ask of you guys. To subscribe to this YouTube channel, if you would be so kind, to leave a thumbs up on this video to help people find us in the algorithms. And boy, oh boy, is there ever a day to subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. Tons of news dropped over there about Cody and Brock, about Becky Lynch and Trish. I almost said Trish Adora. That would be a fun match.
That would be a fun match.
I would take that, but
like
Trish Stratus and the really great reason they got bumped from SummerSlam.
Snap it to a Slim Jim.
Slender James having something to do with this one. I'm not too happy about that, but lots and lots of news going up on FightfulSelect.com, as well as Ask Grapsody is back there, which you recorded today, right?
No Ask Grapsody today. We did 2 weeks in a row, so we're back next week. But yeah, subscribe and we'll be there next week.
Yeah, subscribe anyway. Go back and listen to the other ones. Go back and go forward in time and listen to future ones. I know what I'm saying. Yes. Words are a thing I know how to say. Speaking of going back, I think we're returning to form a little bit after weeks of complaining on the internet. See, this is the problem. If you enable our complaining on the internet, we're going to continue to do it because we got a much stronger episode tonight. Reg, we even got tag titles for ROH defended on ROH programming.
Wow.
Who'd have thunk it?
Yeah.
I felt a lot better about tonight's episode. What were your overall thoughts before we dig in?
Exactly like you said when we got onto the stream. ROH feels back. I don't know how long it's going to last, but I'm going to ride this roller coaster while it's here. Yeah, all the elements that Kate and I discuss on a weekly basis that we just like for you to put on here, they happen tonight. The ROH Tag Team Champions, Aussie Open won them a couple weeks ago, and here they are just on the show, together as a tag team.
Wild.
Who would have thought? I didn't even think that was a concept these days.
I know, to defend your own tag titles on your own program, and good for them, because truly we know that means like they doubled down, right?
Yeah.
Like they defended them on Dynamite yesterday. So this is encouraging stuff. It feels like there's a plan in place. And Reg, we kept talking about how fixable it was, which is why I was trying not to lose hope as time went on. But I think we've seen exactly how simple it can be. And we got a lot of really great evidence of that tonight. We've got some super chats and humper chats to start us off. Thank you so much from Tim, saying that I was at this ROH taping. The crowd seemed to have left after Collision finished. Myself and my sons got moved to almost ringside. That is one benefit. If you're willing to stick around, you can generally sneak down pretty close, which was pretty great. He also says that the best part at the end of the taping, it's almost 12 a.m. and Darby Allin comes out and addresses the crowd that stayed and took selfies with anybody who wanted them. That's awesome.
He's cool.
Oh, that's so cool. What a cool moment. But I'm glad. Now, I think the live experience just by nature is probably still going to feel disjointed a little bit. You have the hour before that gets taped, the hour after. I don't know if that's something they're going to be able to adjust, because I feel like the live experience, the momentum and energy is just a little bit off and weird. And that comes across a little bit, but overall, this felt like a much more cohesive episode. So let's dive in. We start off with Shane Taylor and Christopher Daniels in an ROH TV Championship Eliminator match. Now, I didn't love that we went from tag tournament or Eliminator match, rather, to pay-per-view to right back into a tournament. I did not like that. However, I do like Shane Taylor pushing here. There is a longer story that you can build out if he's going to be the guy to win it this time. And I do like having matches that have stakes. Like, we were so in the well for anything that felt meaningful. Even though I don't like this way of going about it, it at least is a plan that's on some sort of track. And this match was perfectly fine. I think we all knew which way it was going to go, but Taylor goes to the second rope for a crossbody and hits a driver to win for that spot in the finals. I really liked this. I thought Christopher Daniels did a fun job telling the size story without making it look like I'm the small guy. Like he just couldn't overcome it at some points with shots he was laying in, but he got a really nice neck breaker in here too. Like he looked smart in this match, as a savvy veteran with 30 years of experience should, but a good way to kick us off. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought this was pretty fun. It's Shane Taylor kind of getting a couple of good wins before Samoa Joe. I'm liking the story of Samoa Joe not acknowledging Shane Taylor at all so far. So when Shane Taylor, which he should, gets the victory and does win the shot at Samoa Joe, then it's like, all right, you've been ignoring me this whole time. I'm Shane Taylor. I've been here. I want that championship. It's going to be a really good story to tell. This was fun. Christopher Daniels is just a great veteran wrestler that could be in there with anybody. So being in there with Shane Taylor, when Shane Taylor's using his strikes and suplexes and power bombs to really destroy him and break him down, I thought they were telling a really good story. Shane Taylor getting the victory here. Very nice finish, package pile driver, Marcus Garvey driver, whatever you want to call it here. Very stiff one, stiffened Christopher Daniels up for the 3. Thought it was a really good way. And, you know, having a win over Christopher Daniels on the way to this tournament is a really good feather in his cap.
Agreed. My only complaint about it is it's just very predictable. Like I think this was a very, very obvious tournament, but there are worse things. If you go with the unpredictable choice in a predictable tournament, sometimes that can get really ugly. So just wish they had put maybe different contenders in there, but I really liked this, and good to see Shane Taylor getting those wins. And I think you're right. We don't have like a super pressing upcoming event. So I think he can win this. You can get him calling out Samoa Joe, and Samoa Joe, whether he's there or not, appearing on Titantron to deliver some promos. Like there's a lot of magic to be made there. So very much looking forward to that. And just also nice to see, we've been complaining about this, consistency for people on television, right? Shane Taylor's now, he's competing as a singles competitor in the TV title division. Like it's getting a little bit cleaner, which is something that
he's made it clear what he's doing here, which is what I want for not just Ring of Honor, all of pro wrestling. Why are you here? What do you want to do here? What championship do you want to win? Do you want to win the world championship? Do you want to win the TV championship? Tell me. And this is they're establishing it with Shane Taylor. In the beginning, we thought he might be with the WorkHorsemen. They seem to steer away from that. Got him in the right division. So I'm liking this.
I am too. And I liked a lot of things on this episode, including the Iron Savages and Aussie Open. Aussie Open, your fresh tag champs. They have a couple of promos here, but we get a nice little match here, and we get a nice chat from Meat Norvis, who's always chiming in with support, saying, if you know Meat, you know that I'm still dancing, and I love me some Iron Savages. Give them spiked shoulder pads and face me down.
Jameson is just like the perfect addition to their crew too. It's like, he
fits in perfectly. He really does slide in very, very nicely. And there was a lot to like about this. I thought this was a whole bunch of fun. I really appreciated right in the beginning Aussie Open handing the titles off to Stokely and Tony Khan, because it to me made me realize, like, okay, they are now paying attention to continuity things of the fact that they had the titles on Dynamite yesterday, and sequentially here they are today, right? So it's just nice to see them caring about little things like that. Aussie Open hitting the dental plan and the Coriolis on Boulder for the win here, but man, Boulder going crazy, tossing Davis and Fletcher around, and that tilt-a-whirl power slam on Fletcher was a really nice near fall. I love the Iron Savages. I've been singing their praises for a while. It seems like they're starting to at least get some reps and some direction, whether it's an ROH or they move on to Collision or whatever. I'm just glad to see them in action. Noticeable change in stature too over here. We've got some fit savages going on. Which is great to see.
A lot of iron
for them, and taking care of them themselves. But I thought this was a really good match. And my God, I'm just excited to see these tag titles defended on ROH television, Reg.
Yes, very good representation for Ring of Honor, the tag division here today with this and the main event. I thought, man, just so many good things to like about this moment here. Aussie Open being back. It seems like this what would have happened post maybe, you know, what not Mark Davis being hurt. If he would have been here, this would have been a lot of what was going on. But them just being back in full force against a tag team like this that deserves a shot. Iron Savage just looked amazing in a lot of this. That finish with the Coriolis on just was dangerous. A lot of dangerous things happening in here, but Aussie Open kind of being back, doing 2 back-to-back title wins to establish those Ring of Honor championships. And if this is what we're going to get every week, Kate, like, you're not going to get any complaints from me. And then they start defending them, and there's some tag teams in this episode that also look great that are going to be contenders soon. I was like, you know what? I see it.
Yes, I was very relieved to see. It just felt like they cared more this episode, and that makes me really happy. And things like this are a nice symptom of that. Matthew Hooks agreeing with us, saying that this episode set up a lot of stories. Keep it up, TK. Yes, it did. It felt like there were some stories coming out of this, which is refreshing.
Tony Khan, after the promo where Aussie Open walks to Tony Khan and he's like, 2 in a row. 2 in a row. You guys did it. Tony Khan was amazing in this segment. I loved everything that he was doing. He gets in the middle of him and he's
such a proud dad.
Yeah, he is just so proud to be there. Happy for Ring of Honor, happy for Aussie Open, happy for everything. Just like,
I know.
That's TK.
That legit gave me like my dad when he would like coach third base when he would, and like at that age where dads are just coaches, like they just get absorbed into things. That's how my dad would act.
It's like, Dad, why do you have a clipboard? You're in this crowd, like you're not a part of this coaching staff.
They're like, well, the umpires get paid $12 and nobody showed up, so now I'm suddenly in the game. That was like the vibe I was getting. But then we get a fun backstage, and I'm so very excited to see this. We get Lexi Nair with Stokely Hathaway.
Oh, my God.
Thanking people for the praise for the #1 contender tournament, which gets interrupted by a testy Dalton Castle, who blames Stokely for not winning it, and being left out of the #1 contender tournament here. The second one that we get here, obviously, which I liked. He won the first one. He got a shot. He lost. So he's salty that he's not in the second one, but it's kind of like hey, man, you had your shot. And they start to argue about that for a little bit. And in comes Samoa Joe, Sweet Tooth, as some of you may know him from Twisted Metal, which is out, and I'm told very good. I have not watched it.
I haven't seen it yet either.
Yeah, I'm told very good things, which makes me very happy to hear. But Joe says that he would give Castle what he wanted, and in 2 weeks, it's the boys versus Samoa Joe and Stokely Hathaway. Stokely looking a little sharp, and Dalton still not very satisfied here. I honestly didn't know, because I thought Stokely was in the G1. Like, I was just surprised that he was here. I thought he had that A block on lock. I really thought that's where Stokely Hathaway was spending his time. But this is just a whole mess of fun. Like, this Samoa Joe and Stokely pairing has been a very fun way to keep Stokely's presence on screen. I think there will be some hysterical spots of just thinking of things like Samoa Joe tagging him in, right? Like, I'm sure we'll get some offensive Samoa Joe throwing Stokely into people. The boys are such a perfect counter for something like this. We're probably setting up Dalton Castle for something bigger here. I don't know if it's going to be a rematch with Joe or what, but that sounds like a whole mess of ROH-based fun to me. It feels like stories with people that are on the ROH roster consistently, and it sounds like a hoot and a holler of a good time. So I'm here for it. What are your thoughts on this?
Honestly, Kate, I can spend the rest of this podcast just talking about this one segment. There's so much in this. Like, I need like a series of Dalton Castle and Stokely just going back and forth.
I need a buddy cop sitcom.
Yeah,
like
seriously.
I need a
full series. Just light it up Netflix or something. Stokely talking about Juicy Smollett at one point. Dalton was like, I don't know what that means. What are you talking about? Then he immediately has the boys smell his sleeve for some reason. Like, there's just a lot going on. Then Samoa Joe shows up and he's just gassing up Stokely, and Stokely gets the big chest and he's like, yeah, I actually am the man. Samoa Joe's here. And then they pull a swerve and say that it's going to be Samoa Joe and Stokely versus the boys. Just classic antics will happen. We've seen Stokely in a couple matches before. He's had a couple battles with Orange Cassidy. So seeing him here is going to be amazing. I'm looking forward to this a lot. And kind of establishing Dalton Castle as a threat for Samoa Joe and one that could potentially beat him, And I did like also that Stokely Hathaway, again, to your tournaments thing, he was like, I'm really liking this tournament format. I might do another one in a couple weeks. I don't know. I'm really liking this. I was like, this guy is wild.
AEW and ROH. This was some, as you were saying, beautifully orchestrated chaos. Any predictions? Yeah. I think probably Stokely with like a 630 head scissors, maybe, or
the Komander rope walk into the big. Yeah, he's gonna start the match with that, and then I'm guessing shooting star press, maybe. We'll see.
That's it. That's it. I have very high in-ring hopes for this one, especially. But this was a whole bunch of fun. I'm with you. We could talk about this for the rest of the show if we wanted to. But then we turn to something completely different. And this is when ROH is at its best, is when you've got Dalton Castle interrupting with all of this chaos. You got Stokely dropping references. This guy was talking about buying all the finest jams at the farmer's market with Dalton. Like, these two are so perfect in this little world. But we move right into your ROH Pure match between Shibata and Josh Woods. Oh boy, Woods is the goods, and there was a lot of good in this match. I absolutely loved what we got here. Your judges for this, Jimmy Jacobs, Jerry Lynn, and former Pure champion John Walters, which I thought was a nice touch.
Big fans.
Shibata winning with the PK here with the penalty kick, but Reg, I think the fans won. Okay, we got some incredible wrestling. To me, I thought this was a great showcase for Woods. I think Shibata looked really good in this too, obviously, but like, it's still, what this guy's been through. Every time he's in a match, it's something that I try not to like take for granted in a sense. Right. So just trying to be like kind of in the moment with what I was watching here. But there was a really nice sequence with Josh Woods hitting this nasty gut wrench power bomb for a near fall and then hitting his own PK. And it was like kind of something, to me, it looked like clicked in Shibata, and I loved that. It was like, oh hell no, you did not just use a penalty kick on me, buddy. No way. I felt like tonight what we saw from Josh Woods is like, okay, keep this guy on a trajectory. We get a promo later that we'll talk about, but him and Anthony Henry today, I feel like really, really, really stood out to me. I loved this match. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, this was a nice contrast to that promo we had just got. It's like, we're going to get some comedy, we're going to get funny, and then we're going to get two guys trying to murder each other out here in the ring. Yeah, Kate, it's hard to watch a Shibata match without it sitting right there in the back of your mind. Like, in the back of his mind was showing inside of a surgery room one time. So we need to kind of take it, never take this moment for granted. But then you see the match and Josh Woods is throwing him like that never was a thing. He's like, I don't care that he wasn't out. I'm trying to win this Pure Championship right now. Just a great battle. Exactly what the Pure Championship represents. Shibata, there was one moment where Shibata was like, I know he just did not penalty kick me in this match right here.
Right.
How the disrespect, and he just got immediately up and was like, all right, bro, like, playtime is over, as they say. You're out of here. You're gone. But that penalty kick, as we will talk about very soon here about that Josh Woods promo later, set off something in Josh Woods' brain too, which I think is going to benefit him very well. This was like, that's like the perfect match Josh Woods could get from Shibata. Like, if you sit down before that match and was like, what's the best case scenario I could get out of having a match with this legend? They did it.
Yeah, and it's kind of fun because you knew Shibata was going to retain here. We're probably not just going to toss that title aside on a random ROH episode, but I feel like Shibata could just hold it forever or drop it at any time. So there is kind of like some suspense with it, which is nice. Almost like with Orange Cassidy at this point. Like, I feel like the story has been about him and his individual trajectory. So Orange Cassidy can kind of drop it. I feel like that's kind of a similar thing with Shibata right here. And
right.
I agree. Like this was a lot of fun, and I'm excited to see what's next for Josh Woods. But even this, Reg, it was like Josh Woods picked up a couple wins going into this. Like all those simple things we've been asking for showed up. So we love to see that. And we love to see Dalton Castle with the boys against Zack Clayton in a glorified squash here. Dalton wins with the bangerang. I think this was just to get him out there and in the ring. I'm wondering if maybe we're heading toward a triple threat with Samoa Joe, Shane Taylor, and Dalton Castle, because that's a good way to get the belt off of Joe, but keep him protected in the process. Dalton having his gripes, Shane Taylor probably winning this tournament is a nice kind of folding of things. We did see Samoa Joe and my favorite walkaway spot maybe of all time against Gravity on Collision, where he did the Gravity slow walk. I was howling, but that kind of occurred to me after watching Dalton win this match, and handily. There's not a lot to talk about here, but I was like, a triple threat. If you wanted to get the belt off of Samoa Joe to either of these guys, could be believable next one's up here. That might be a fun way to do it. Any thoughts on the match and any thoughts on my triple threat booking?
I like this triple threat booking. I hope that Dalton, he's a face, so I don't think he would play a part in the finish of whatever who wins the tournament versus Samoa Joe, but I guess that could happen. It'd be a heel move for him to interfere and do like that. But yeah, if they set up that triple threat match some way, I think it's a good way. This is a run-of-the-mill match. Zack Clayton, if you guys didn't know, is attached to reality TV somehow. I just want you guys to know, because every time he's on TV, they have to let us know. And here we go again. They're like, hey, Jersey Shore, don't forget, he was there.
They sure do remind us that he is engaged to someone who was on reality television. Yeah.
So it's claim to fame, Kate.
I am okay if this is the extent of Zack Clayton's on-screen role. I don't really have a desire to see him do a ton more than that, but he's a good fall guy too, because he looks like $1 million. So it kind of, if you're gonna go have him squash someone, it's like, wow, he beat a big dude. So
big guy.
But I'm with you. It's like any other layer you would like to throw in here at any time. Okay.
What else did he do? Did he play football or something? Like, yeah.
Literally anything else, but we've got.
Does he like sour cream and onion chips? Like, give me something, dude. Jeez, Louise.
No, are you kidding? That guy's never eaten a chip in his life. He only eats protein,
right.
maybe like a
protein
chip. Yeah.
You're right.
Oh man. So we move along to a tag match between the Infantry and Camarado and Joel. This was good to see the Infantry continue to build. I can't say enough about commentary. I know I say it every week, but like they just do such a good job with things like this of making everybody feel so important. We get a really nice finish. I really liked this from the Infantry, getting this kind of boot into a side Russian leg sweep.
Yeah.
This was a nice little match. It was quick too. But like old ROH, I hate to be that person because it makes me feel 9 million years old, but like you would have matches like this where it's like, hey, these guys keep getting wins because they're important. Now, a lot of times that was because we had standings and they were followed biblically. You don't have to necessarily bring those back, but people just racking up W's. We're going to see it later with Diamante. She felt important going into this match. It's a big difference maker. I love seeing this from the Infantry. Love what the Infantry is bringing to the product. Love adding Trisha Dora into the fold. It's just a whole mess of fun here. What do you think of our tag match?
Good to see the Infantry kind of establishing. It's kind of like the Shane Taylor thing. Just being on TV consistently, it just helps them out a lot more. So any win seems more important, and it seems like they've been establishing the Infantry for a couple of months here at this point. They themselves look better with every match. They're still pretty young as a tag team, Carly and the captain. So any match is a rep for them, and every rep that they get recently has looked great. Really cool finish. That Watch Your Six thing and the military, all that stuff is really great thing to kind of separate them from all the other tag teams. And if tag teams are getting built up, if they're going to try to get a couple wings before going against the Kingdom again, maybe to try to establish them and give them a big win, then I think that'd be really dope. It's going to be hard for anybody coming up here in the Ring of Honor tag team division to beat Aussie Open just because they're so hot right now. But contenders is always a good thing.
Agreed. Also, just want to give some love to this because I'm a big Rohit gal. I love Rohit Raju. I would love to see Rohit back around.
I've been yelling it to the sun how great of a wrestler Rohit is. And I'm angry that he isn't a signed wrestler on TV right now, wrestling every week. He'd be perfect for Ring of Honor, the Pure Division, the television title. He'd be perfect in Impact, back in Impact, be perfect in AEW, WWE, anywhere. Such a great, talented wrestler, and I'm mad that he's not signed.
Well, Reg, the things we were just mad about got addressed tonight. So should we get mad about Rohit? We're mad about Rohit.
I'm angry about it. I'm going to tweet. You're going to get 3 tweets in a row from me.
3 tweets? You're going to complain on the internet? Oh, my goodness. See, it's like a win some, lose some, because I complain about NXT every week and they never fix anything, but they fix some stuff at ROH, so it's a toss-up, I guess. But new campaign, we're complaining about not enough Rohit in our lives, but I agree with you. I love the guy. I think he brings such a special energy to things, and even from and I try not to talk about representation as a white girl too much, but we don't have a lot of that, right? It would be really nice to see on television. It's like the largest population of people in the world. So if we could get some wrestlers on TV in that regard, that would be neat.
We could stop saying the gender run was good. Let's move on, Kate. Let's move on, please. Let's move on. Just go. Next match, please. I want to move on, Kate.
We can, but there's wrestling opinions, and you can like what you like, and then there's things that are just wrong.
I know.
The gender run was not good.
They don't be listening, Kate. They don't.
I know, but I'm listening to you, and ROH is listening to us because they made a lot of changes tonight. So sign Rohit. All right,
sign him now.
We get Leyla Hirsch and Miranda Vianette in a really fun match. Man, I missed Leyla. I love this girl so much. I like Maria also recruiting because I really like mixed stables a lot. Like I love mixed gender stables. I think it's super fun. And I also feel like the Kingdom, we've been saying MVP status, right? They've been around. If you're not going to give them the titles, I think a really good direction to go is to start recruiting other people because it's a way to maximize the value that you've built with the Kingdom. And especially for how valuable Maria is, I think this is a really, really, really good call. So I appreciated that we had her on the ramp and that Layla's kind of been folded into the picture in this way. But what a whole mess of fun this match was. Vianette going for a small amount of offense here. She gets a little bit in, but Leyla Hirsch catching her in that nasty arm breaker, the cross arm breaker for the win. Really like what they're doing here. It does feel like we've got some more stories in play, which is refreshing. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, Leyla Hirsch is a ball of fire. All of her opponents better prepare for what she's going to do to them moving forward. It's not going to be long for you in the ring. She's going to destroy you. She's on her way. She's hell-bent on becoming the Ring of Honor Women's Champion, I think. And she's going to quietly do it, so Athena better, start paying attention. Maria doing the old school. We don't see this enough, what she's doing here. The old stand on the ramp and scout talent thing. Classic wrestling trope, one I love, and I hate that there's not enough managers, I feel, because there's some people that'll just add value to any talent, and I think Maria, as we've seen with the Kingdom, adds so much. And if she adding some more players to be helping out, I think it's a great move. She does it later in the show. I don't know if I like that move, but they can all be hits.
They can't all be hits is true, but from it makes wrestling sense standpoint, I can't argue that, right? Yeah, and we'll get to that in a moment here, but this was great. I'm happy to see Leyla climbing up the ranks here as well. You're saying that she's going to be the one to dethrone Athena. Big words. I don't hate it. It's just hard to think of anybody dethroning Athena right now, but Leyla is a badass, so I will absolutely take that, especially with the women's match that we got in just a moment. But before we stop there, we're going to talk about Gravity versus Tony Nese Group Fitness Leader with Mark Sterling and Ari Daivari at ringside. this match went the way you would kind of expect it. I thought this was really good. I know you are a spot foo fella, so I will let you talk about how much fun Gravity is. I know he's not the top of your luchador list, but we love luchadors here. But Gravity with the single arm power bomb out of a roll up attempt, followed by a top rope splash for the win. So your finals are going to be Gravity and Shane Taylor. I feel like a man of Shane Taylor's stature beats Gravity every time. Just the way it goes.
Facts are the facts. Yeah, the facts are the facts, I feel. Gravity's fun. I think he's super young in the business, as they stress on commentary pretty often. And I think he gets better with every match too. He's one of those guys. Tony Nese, I don't know how to feel about Tony Nese. The other week when he was in the tournament, it was like, well, why all of us, like, he had got to win to get into the tournament. It's like Tony Nese never wins, and then like now he's right back to losing again. So it was like, what was the point of that? I see building contenders, but like you could have gave that to somebody who's actually winning already. But then he's also a really good wrestler, so when he wrestles, it's like, well, yeah, he should have some wins. And I like that he's trying to push the little personal trainer type deal going forward. Gravity has been Tony Khan's a big fan of Gravity very recently. He's gonna on a lot of shows in some big spots and some big moments. Him being here in the finals against Shane Taylor is good for him, but Shane Taylor's got to get this W here so we could get to this Samoa Joe and him face off, stare down, match, promos, everything attached to it. But if Gravity wasn't here, we wouldn't, like you said, have gotten the Samoa Joe walk away spot. So there's some brightness to this.
There is, and I'm actually going to jump ahead a little bit because I don't think, unlike a lot of Tony Nese's losses, this one might have not been as much of a throwaway. This might be a bit of a more meaningful loss because later in this episode, we see Josh Woods talking about how he needs something to change. He's had 3 title shots. They've all been losses. I'm wondering if maybe we're getting a split off here. And I don't hate it at all, because I feel like Josh Woods is a standout talent on his own. And I feel like as much fun as the silliness of Tony Nese is, I don't know if Josh Woods is ripe for that. He should be pure division ass kicker kind of guy, in my opinion. That's just like my Josh Woods sweet spot. I love to see that. So I'm wondering if this loss might be Josh Woods looking at him, looking at himself and saying, I'm being held back, not propelled forward by this group. Do you think maybe that's where we're going with this?
Yeah, it felt pretty telling that Josh Woods was alone when he did his promo. He wasn't with those guys. And yeah, I think he is like looking at Tony Nese, looking at us. I was like, okay, we can't both be losers. Like, if I'm going to be coming up on the short end, at least I could have you to bounce off, but I can't even bounce off you because you're getting your butt kicked too. And yeah, if we're going to move forward with Tony Nese having this personal trainer style, calling everybody chubby guys in the crowd, Josh Woods isn't about that. He's about pure. He's about trying to win championships. He's about his business. So it probably would make sense to split him up here. I like the Josh Woods promo, though. It was exactly what, from a character standpoint, people are thinking. We come on this podcast all the time and talk about how great Josh Woods is, how much we want him to succeed. But every time that he gets a match, he loses. So it's like, well, bro, like, if we're going to champion you, you got to show us why we're saying these things.
And wins and losses mattering. Oh, that's all we ask. That is all we ask. We got this chat from Orion Ben saying, I go from Reg and Kate raging to you two ROH Shadow GM. Look, one of the GMs is now doing in-ring competition and going to
conflict of interest, Stokely.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the problem. And given the choice, I think everybody understands Stokely's in-ring acumen is mere god among mortals as far as that goes. So
he doesn't wrestle because he's going to overshadow everybody. Like, Shibata is going to be sitting back there like, wow, like, how do I follow that?
Exactly. Yeah, he's going to be like, oh no, I can't make that taping.
No, I can't. Stokely's going to be on the show.
I'm so injured.
Yeah, not today, Tony. I can't make it. I don't know why. I can't. That's how everybody is, including Samoa. Samoa Joe's going to be in the match like, wow, like I shouldn't tag back in because Stokely's one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah, he's gonna be like, I'm just the hot tag here today. So nice, like lazy night for Samoan Joseph, as we call him. But next up is my match of the night, and boy, howdy, did this live up to the hype for me. Athena, my God, and Diamante. What a match, and what a refreshing difference maker some wins and feeling like a real contender and some time on here has made. I absolutely love so much about this match, and we get a whole heck of a lot of story between the ropes with this. I absolutely loved it. I tweeted like this was Lady Techers to me. There was some really fun stuff in here. If you got your spot foo at the end, this was like a Kate match. We got a chaos theory in here that looked great from Diamante, and the ending. Oh, I loved the finish here so much. Diamante having the loss from Willow scouted with that crossface. She knew exactly what to do and how to get out of it, even though Athena had adjusted it. We get a neck bridging suplex. I'll give a shout out to SP3, who also noted the Zack Sabre Jr. style cross arms at it, which is such like a deliciously arrogant thing to add to it. I loved what we got here. And of note, and in a promo that goes along with this, no post-match beatdown. I love Athena showing respect, only to rip it away a little bit later. We're going to talk about that promo in a moment, but what did you think of this match? This was all aces from me. I loved everything here.
Yeah, what a way to cap off Diamante's little mini run. We've been talking many weeks on here that there always needs to be consistent contenders, and Diamante has been building up her stock for some weeks here, looking great in every opportunity that she's in. Then she gets in here with Athena and has this great match. They're trading stuff back and forth. She's not getting squashed. She looks great. Athena's not being as cocky as she usually is. It's a different type of Athena. Still vicious and still crazy. She still destroyed her with a lot of things in the match. It's Athena. She can't help herself. But there was some respect there, and you can feel that even before we get the little promo later in the match. But as far as like, we're going to look through Athena's run when she's done, which she should never be done. And there's going to be like staple matches of like, a lot of these were like Ring of Honor proving ground matches and things like that. But then when it was time to go and there was somebody in the ring that should be in there with them, it's great. And this was one of those matches that was like, yeah, of course. Diamante went in there and destroyed it. She deserves a rematch against Athena. And maybe what they were talking about is going to set up something more in the future.
Yeah, I'm very intrigued with what they talked about. We're going to get to that in just a moment. Very minor gripe, and I don't even know if it's actually one. But I think it would have been really cool if the story went to Diamante being the first proving ground person to last the entire length. We talked about that a couple weeks ago, and then having a title shot, because it would feel like another layer of respect was earned. Where
that promo would have made a lot more sense if that would have happened.
Yeah, I feel like it would have clicked in something a little bit more. At the same time, Diamante just getting some wins. I feel like proving grounds matches are meant for more underdogs, and I think Diamante coming in just kind of looking like a contender is also a really good way to go about business. But with that promo, I was like, oh, I would have just made that one small little tweak. I feel like that might have just added another layer here. But let's dive into that promo now, because it was some good stuff. I really liked what was said. Lexi Nair is interviewing Diamante about the match, and they're quickly interrupted by our goddess of a champion. It's hard to call her a fallen goddess, because boy, howdy, is she on the rise. My goodness. But I loved what we got out of this. There was no post-match beatdown. Athena says, why are you talking to Porcelain? Well, you could be talking to the champ, which is fantastic, but gives a lot of respect to Diamante and says, you have what it takes. You just need to find a little something. She sees her old self in her, which is such a nice callback to just kind of how she came into the company, and things switched a little bit after that Jody Threat match, and here we are. I loved this, because it differentiated Diamante, and it's so important in wrestling to make people feel important in losses. And this accomplished that so beautifully in such a quick little backstage segment. What are your thoughts? Do you think Diamante is going to the dark side? Do you think, what do you think she's going to find in herself?
I think this promo was better than the match, honestly. The match was great, but this promo for Diamante helped so much because throughout Athena's run, we haven't seen this. Usually she comes after the match and is like, give me harder competition. Why are you guys sending me these losers, these porcelain hussies all the time? But this time for her to come and have this endorsement to be like, look, I used to be just like you. I came in here trying to play nice. Like there was some aggression in there, but like I wasn't really being me. And if you do what I tell you, you could be the one that's holding this Ring of Honor championship. It's like, yes, people need to know how important that, like, because Diamante's been doing her thing, but I still don't think like the fans recognize kind of why she's in the position that she's in. And for Athena to be like, look, she's important and she really kicks it off, she could be one of those ones, is great. There was some backhandedness in here for sure. Like Athena didn't just totally give it up. She was like, you could never beat me, but I think you'd be great if you add a little extra layer to it.
Yes, I think this was so well done and so well executed. Really, really refreshing stuff, and starting to see these divisions shape up a little bit. We're getting some consistency that we have been asking for, in my case, whining for a very, very long time. So Louise also pointing out that Diamante is only 2 years younger than her. So it was funny for her to be like, I see you in my younger self in you, but what a difference 2 years can make. I mean, this Athena run has come from what, the past 8 months or so, I would say. So good stuff. We get Gates of Agony defeating the boys next. Very little to say about this, except this is kind of, I don't want to say it was a misstep in the episode, but this was one of those things where it's like, okay, Brian Cage is with Big Bill, but they're the 6-man title holders, but this is the tag team. This kind of feels like a little hangover from previous episodes, but they come out here, they look strong. The boys lose. I think this is good because you had Dalton and the boys on the episode. You got Dalton to win. You should probably have the boys out there in some respect. So I'll take it. And we're talking consistent reps and having some clarity. But the other thing we were talking about is clarity in which division you're in, right? So this does feel a little bit off base, but a minor complaint in what was overall a much, much longer or much stronger episode, I should say. What were your thoughts here?
Yeah, some murky waters getting to where we're going to get to. They have to define what the trios tag 6-man tag titles in Ring of Honor are. I think everybody's pretty all in on Big Bill and Brian Cage. So like, let's give those championships to someone else. Let this build over here. But the boys are great. I do like that kind of format we're following here of like somebody does a promo on the show, they also have a match on the show. Because we've seen some weeks where like somebody will have a promo that's like, in 2 weeks, you'll see blah, blah, blah going on. It's like, well, why'd you have the promo if I'm not going to see him wrestle? Give us the promo. Give us the match. The Gates of Agony get to get some reps in. The boys get to get destroyed. That's all everybody really wants them to see. And it's going to kind of put into people's brains what they think of the boys, and then when they get in there in Stokely and turn it around and do some things, really going to surprise people. So it's a nice little appetizer for a big match that they're going to have here in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I agree with you. I always go back to what promo is supposed to be short for, and it's promoting. It's promoting the match. And so when we get a promo and the match isn't for another 2 weeks, it's kind of like, oh. You know, in most cases, sometimes you'll have someone say something and then the next week the opponent responds and then you have it or whatever. But you're right in that they felt a little bit disjointed. But here, much cleaner vehicle for delivery. Okay, I'm very bummed because I didn't get to see this because my dog was going a little nuts and I had to take care of her. But this Dark Order and Righteous segment from like my favorite story, I was like, oh, of course this is the thing that she's like barking at a squirrel on the porch during. What the heck? I missed it. So did you see it? And can you tell me about it? And I will go back and watch it.
You know what? Unfortunately, I cannot because that was for some reason the one moment in the match I missed too. I think I might have ran for a bathroom break. I'm really apologize, you guys. There has to be a moment in here I gotta go, but this is what the time that I went. I saw a little bit of it. I saw Vince start to talk, but then I was like, I gotta go right now, you guys. And
that's exactly what happened to me. I had like an ear out and I heard him kind of just saying like this was the Dark Order that he had wanted, it sounded like, and then Dark Order showed up. So I don't know. I'm pretty sure I saw Evil Uno out of the corner of my eye. And the thing with ROH is I couldn't go back and rewind it because I don't know if you can do that on the app, but you can't do it on Honor Club. So I was trying to go back and I was like, oh, I'm just going to have missed the segment. I'm so bummed. But
unfortunate.
I'm intrigued because it felt like they had the blow off. I'm not opposed to this continuing because I think there's still some juice left in it. But usually when you have like a match, everybody kind of moves on. It doesn't feel like they're doing that. So I'm intrigued. I
think that both of these,
that's what the segment is.
Both of these teams should just combine at this point. Like, you guys just be a big faction that's terrorizing. You combine all the elements from the Righteous with all the elements from the Dark Order into one super group.
I mean, that would be a really fun thing to do, especially because the Dark Order could turn heel off of that very easily if they kind of got absorbed into it. The Dark Order, we should note too, re-signing for a few more years. Very happy to hear that. You had the Dark Order, of course, the big news about the Elite re-signing and Kip Sabian also re-signing. You can read more about all those things on Fightful Select at FightfulSelect.com. Best $5 in the biz. Guys, stay tuned for your Impact post-show. We're mowing our way through the rest of ROH, but we do pass it off to the Impact crew who can catch you up to speed on everything, including a tag title defense on their show. Oh my gosh, we got our tag title tournament situation. We got like actual stories clicking in tag title divisions on both shows. I'll also remind you to leave a thumbs up on this video and subscribe if you haven't already, and to get in your super chats and humper chats. If there's anything you want to talk about, we always appreciate the support. And we have some more of it. Oh, Luis doing a great job summarizing. In a vignette from Death Before Dishonor backstage, Vincent was about to hoot and holler before the Dark Order confronted him. Evil Uno and Stu Grayson shook hands before Uno said, "Thank you, Stu." And then Luis just says, "Drama," which I love. Very interesting. Okay, so there you go. Who is a better moderator than Luis? Honest to God. Like, his job is to make sure you guys aren't assholes in the chat and to organize our chats. He is like a research statistician. He's got all these things going on for us. He's doing summary recaps. He even did it in purple and white font because Dark Order. What a guy.
What a guy.
What a guy.
Appreciate you.
Former security guard LSG in a fight here with Cole. 2 times Carter. Very nice to see LSG in action. A former Ring of Honor standout. I really liked the way Ian put him over and said, hey, he was a major player before ROH shut down. We've seen him on ROH and AEW a few times. Good to see some of the old blood coming back in, the same way I was complaining about Cheeseburger not being on television when they were right in his backyard in Trenton. Very nice to see the old guard coming back. And we have Maria again scouting. This is pretty good. Meet Norma saying meet again. I thought they would do with Leyla what they did with Diablo, either a 3-way or a stable, but this story is a spicy meatball. 5 out of 5 pork chops. Well, thank you for your meat ratings, Meet Normus. We get 2 times picking up the win. I'll always call him that because I had to suffer through NXT. But Carter hitting a DDT. I'll always put over Gio. He's a great wrestler and a good friend of mine. I think one of the things he does best is the proportionate sell, and this match had a lot in it. I liked him slipping out of the powerbomb in this. Some good stuff in what was a match that was used to advance a bigger story here, right, with Maria coming out. Cole Carter's not like my favorite dude in the world, but the Guns aren't my favorite tag team in the world, and they're in a stable. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's kind of the point sometimes with stables is not everyone's supposed to be your favorite guy. Some people are supposed to be there to be serviceable wrestlers who are going to learn and grow. Cole Carter has a lot of learning and growing ahead of him, that are there to eat pins sometimes and are there to get raised into things. It's worked for New Japan for decades and decades, right? They are not almost exclusively, but obviously very stable heavy, and they have the whole young boy, young lion system over there. Like, this is a good way to let wrestlers pace themselves and grow at the rate that they need to grow. Cole Carter's not my favorite dude. but this makes wrestling sense to me. I like the kingdom expanding. We'll see what happens. What are your thoughts on the match and the story that we're getting here?
Kate was being very nice there, very diplomatic, right on the line. She walked in. She didn't look to the left. She didn't look to the right. It was just straight
sober.
on.
Straight sober on that drunk driving test, my friend.
I got this. Good for you, Kate.
Thank you.
Cole Carter, stop watching them Austin Theory tapes like I told you before and watch something else. It's not going to work. If it's not working with him, why is it going to work with you? Watch some tapes of somebody that's going to help you, not of a guy that's still figuring it out himself. And that's my thing for Cole Carter. LSG is great, though. Little security guard a couple weeks ago. He's out here to destroy. Now, we always like ROH staples, and anytime we see somebody like this. But yeah, Cole Carter, the Austin Theory tapes, trash him.
Get him out of here. Get him out of here. I'll agree with that. Between these two, I would put Gio over. He's my favorite in this. Really, he's great. Sincerely, I say that as a friend, but like great footwork, really, really solid fundamental wrestler. I've seen him shift his own style from a lot of high flying Ace of Space stuff to a little bit more grounded of an approach, and he's got really just solid fundamentals. And I feel like in a role like this, really kind of shines because he can just come in there and give someone like Cole Carter a great match. So very happy to see him on there and getting some reps after those long security guard hours. We move along to not my favorite thing, and it has nothing to do with the gals involved, but Robyn Renegade defeating Christina Marie. Are they a tag team or not?
I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is.
I thought it was cool that she won with the octopus dress. I'll always talk for that. Yeah, that's such a cool finisher. Her sister came down here. There were shenanigans, but they're not twins, so you can't really pull off twin magic. And there's not a tag team division, so I like the Renegade twins or sisters. I like seeing them on television. They don't look a lot alike. It just feels like they haven't quite figured out what to do with them yet, which is okay. But I would like some direction around stuff. Nice to see Christina Marie getting a rep here as well. Perfectly fine little match. Just, I don't know, what are we doing with these Renegade gals? I don't know.
Yeah, we need direction because if they're going to put them in singles matches, it's hard to get behind one of them when you're not super differentiating between the two of them. Like if you just are broadly watching the show, you might think they're twins. You don't know which one is which. And if you don't distinguish one from the other, put them in a tag team. What are we going to do here if we're going to keep being like, well, who won last week or who's wrestling this week? What's going on here? It's just too much to try to think about and look about. They keep doing the Bellas twins thing. It's like, it'd be better in a tag team. Just have some women's tag team. There's a bunch of women's wrestlers back there that you could just pair up, establish a little division. We don't need tag team championships like people are going to say if you have these matches. Just do it.
Just do that. I agree. Yeah, there's still people that can't tell Santana and Ortiz apart. So if you think they're going to be telling the Renegades apart, it's not, not going to happen. But perfectly serviceable match. And I really like the submission finish. That was super fun. But we'll move along. Wow, we are like actually very well paced in our own show, which was nice. We are like pacing, at the main event, at main event point. I didn't even have to do a ton of work to get there. See what happens when the episode is good? We're not running over time with our
and it was 2 hours too. Like it wasn't extra, it wasn't less time. Like it was the same amount of time and everything.
It wasn't. Things just made sense. And our only complaint is that we want more Rohit on the show, which is kind of from like an outside, that was like we're reaching outside of this episode to bring that in because we got so many things that we did want. But what better way to end the night for Reg than with some spot foo? I got my Lady Techers earlier with the Chaos Theory and all sorts of fun stuff. We ended in Reg's wheelhouse with Vikingo and Komander, with, of course, Alex Abrahantes because Lucha,
of course,
and the Workhorsemen, who I also have been singing the praises of week after week. I thought Anthony Hendry especially looked great in this. I love a good standing twisting neck breaker so much, and he had a really fun one in here that kind of snuck in on the side, but Shot Kid saying, ROH post show. I think I saw stories in them. I think I saw stories in them. They're ROH Hills stories, I tell you. Also, JD Drake is the country boy version of Eddie Kingston.
He is.
Folks,
yeah.
Where's the lie? Shout out to the Bobby Fish reference there. I will forever pop for that. We did see a lot of stories in them. They're ROH Hills. I like the country boy ROH Eddie Kingston. I kind of want that as a match now, but digging into a little bit of this match, this was super fun. We get Vikingo and Komander hitting 450 splashes to Drake and Vikingo getting the pin here. Some nice tandem offense that was really, really fun, of course, as you would expect. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, and I know Luis will because he follows the AAA product. Is one of them a AAA champion or are they AAA tag champions? Because I saw that on the lower third, but I can't remember.
I think both of them are AAA champions. One, Vikingo's the mega champion and Komander is the tag team champion. If I'm not mistaken, without as I think. The best part of this match was, of course, the friendship moonsault that they hit. Komander and Vikingo walked the ropes and then held hands in unison for friendship as they hit moonsaults. It was a beautiful display of friends. I loved every moment of it. Great spot food here. Everything you would expect from these guys in a match was here. The WorkHorsemen are great. They should be in all the main events. When they have a series of matches with Aussie Open coming up, I'm sure soon, it's going to be very fire. JD Drake was talking a lot. He was doing the Eddie Kingston comparison is great, but he did also a great Kevin Steen / Owens impression. Yes. I thought in this, he talked a lot of good trash. He bumped well. Like it was a great display from him on top of the Anthony Henry display. But again, these guys, 2 nights in a row, Vikingo and Komander hit the double 450 splash. They're taunting me. They don't put them in a match with Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi. I'm going to be very upset. Quit teasing me like that. You can't do this spot unless you're going to do the match. So do the match.
Reg, are you team double 450 splash or team double clothesline?
You know I like spots. It's 450, baby. All 450s.
I love it. Some clarity coming from the chat. Thank you so much. I wish I was paying closer attention to the AAA scene because a lot of great stuff going down there. I'm a big Sam Adonis girl, and he's doing a lot of great work there. But Komander is the AAA tag champion, and Vikingo is the world champion. So there you go. Some good stuff and a good episode of ROH. It's refreshing to come on here and be so happy about things. But Shane Monster closing us out with a chat that says, so Claudio is my favorite wrestler, not named Danielson, but they need to figure out how to get the title that's someone on ROH. Dalton,
I forgot there was a champion, honestly.
My guess is based on some of the interviews we got, they might be waiting for Eddie to come back for the G1 for that. Which would be a very, very fun way to go about business. But we're going to bring the Impact crew in here. God, Cresta always looking so beautiful. She's not in her fancy Sean Ross Sapp house anymore. She doesn't have the
he kicked me out. Oh, he kicked me out. Sean. He knew I was living under the piano. He said, "Who are you?"
So. But she's not there now.
I was going to say he could have had you house sitting, man. Yeah. Like, dang, he's in Detroit, right?
He's a hater, and he is in Detroit.
He's a hater. I mean, can confirm. I think we all in here can confirm.
Yep.
Cresta and Gacy invasion, says the chat. I love it. I love it.
I mean, everyone thinks Joel Pearl is the bad guy, but the real bad guy is Mr. SRS. But no more industry secrets from me.
No, that's the only one we giving up. Get to Fightful Select if you want the rest of them.
That's right.
$5 every month. Come on now. $10, $1,000 if you're nasty.
1,000 if you're nasty. Busy day on the old Fightful Select. I don't think anybody who was nasty signed up, but there was a lot of news coming out of there. If we got some $1,000 subscriptions, God bless us. Hopefully, things will be moving in the right direction. We can get pay bumps. That'll be delightful. But guys, we had a really, really, really fun episode of ROH. It was very refreshing. Kind of shows you how simple some of the changes we've been whining about are, because it's just been 2 weeks since the pay-per-view and things have turned in the right direction. How was Impact tonight?
Well, Eric Young is an idea that will live forever, so we got that.
Yeah, legends never die.
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah. We discovered that Eric Young He not only survived, but he owns a sweet motorcycle.
Oh,
Nice.
I was wondering about that. I was like, and not only is he dead, I wonder what kind of vehicle he gets to use around and motorcycle.
Yeah.
It wasn't a zombie cycle or even like the Death Rider, Hell Rider motorcycle, so I was a little
just a murdered out, all black, simple Harley whipping down whatever I-90 something in Nashville. Just good for him. You know what?
I-90 something.
Respect. Look, I want to come in looking cool. I'm gonna have my hog. I'll go down I-95. You guys shoot me from the side, and then you shoot me from the other side. It'll be great.
No,
just
it's
don't
not
show
from
the
the
side I
side.
got murdered on.
There wasn't no side.
Right, it ain't the side. It's from the top. They were doing like
Oh,
the
of
drone
course.
helicopter. They were like, give me the Jeremy Borash treatment. And Scott Demore was just like, you know, JB works for WWE. And Eric's
Right.
like, I don't care.
I don't care. Like every time I've been here, he's been here. He has to be here somewhere.
That's a fact. You better get someone that look like him.
Anyway, show was good. It was good. They got a lot of time until the next show, Emergence. So
Wow,
still-
surprising. I don't think I've ever heard you say that before.
No,
Joel.
usually
it's
it's
usually like
there's a
next week.
special
There's another one.
tomorrow.
That's
Yeah.
true. That is literally true.
So it's nice. Like their next big event. I mean, they have multiverse, right? Multiverse of
Yeah.
matches though is
Oh, yeah.
literally just a bunch of matches. Not to underplay it, but like they don't go as storyline heavy. But Emergence is the week after on the 27th, same night as All In. So it's All In the afternoon, and then you'll have Emergence at night. But yeah, they're kind of like slow burning a bunch of stuff. They've announced some matches, but other than that, tonight's show is just kind of like we're gonna get there, but they're not rushing anything. And I appreciate that.
Yeah, it was very enjoyable, easy to watch. The Eric Young thing, I laughed because I think it was supposed to be serious, but it was very unserious. It was so. I think it was supposed to be serious, but if that was supposed to be serious, oof.
We had one of those on Tuesday with Baron Corbin where he went to meet himself in the forest with a bunch of tiki torches, and the version of himself that he met was like 3 inches taller than him on video. It was amazing. So I'm with you on things that are supposed to be serious ending up
That
being really
sounds
freaking
wild.
goofy. Oh my god, it's the best.
How was
I
Ring of
just
Honor?
laughed.
Ring of Honor was great.
That's
Ring of
tight.
Honor was great. My match of the night was the women's title match. Diamante and Athena had a great one, a really, really great one with a very strong promo after. We just got a lot of story tonight.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Reg, what was yours?
Strongest thing for me was probably legit just Aussie Open being on the show as the World Tag Team Champions, which like gives me hope that they're going to start telling stories with these very prestigious tag team championships. So them just being there, and then they ended it with Spot Foo. So I mean, you know what time it is.
Oh hell yeah.
So,
That's a good show. So I'm glad I brought my Nitro Grill mug from.
look at you.
Let's go.
I love it.
Joel coming in prepared.
Full of root beer, baby.
Something like that.
Not regular beer, root beer.
Yeah.
The dad version.
From the roots.
Mhm.
Anyway, it's good.
All right,
I'm
well,
glad Ring of
we-
Honor was good.
Yeah, it was really good, and it was very simple changes. So hopefully they stick around. But we'll
Continue.
get out of here while you guys stick around with the Impact Post Show. So enjoy.
Enjoy.
Oh my goodness,
Peace, y'all.
it's your turn, isn't it?
Bye, guys. I'm
Bye,
Joe
beautiful.
Pearl.
You're Joel Pearl.
You can be whatever you want. There goes one. There goes the other. Bye. She's just gonna take her time. I could boot her. I mean, I could.
Wow.
I won't do it.
Friendship
I'm
is
too nice.
magic. All right, let me zoom
gotta
out.
do
so I
what
don't
we
look
always
so
do.
crazy.
Yeah. How you doing, Cresta Star?
I'm okay. Pink is not my favorite color, but my friend saw the Barbie movie and she was really inspired. She's like, you should do a pink look. You should do a pink look. And
Here we
can
are.
I zoom out more before you guys see the lies? Yeah, this is as far as it goes. Yeah, Merry Hanukkah.
But I don't think that's it.
Happy Kwahamas.
Yeah. That's the one.
Yeah, we did it in
Hooray.
August or July, whichever one it is.
Trying to fix my lights because I got a
How
new
are you,
monitor.
Joe Pearl?
I'm okay. I'm trying not to be under the weather, but I'm okay.
I believe you.
Eject. I can't do it right now because A, people are sleeping, and B, oh no, I'm thinking of Starscream. Soundwave would be like eject. Anyway, Transformers.
I don't know when you said that. All I could think of was no, like Star Wars, Padme.
No. I just think of Principal Skinner.
Smoked
The-
ham.
the
No,
weather
boiled
balloon.
hams.
I'm thinking of the weather balloon.
Oh,
No. And
damn.
it's
We
this
have
big butt.
different references when we think of it.
Anyway, I feel like people are going to be like, hey, I'm asleep, but I'm going to talk about Impact Wrestling. Are you ready?
I was born ready.
All right, here we go, audio folk in 3, 2, 1. Hello, friends. We're back again. It's Fightful.com. It's August 3rd, 2023. It is time for your Impact Wrestling review. I am Actual Pearl, and as always, I'm here with the ride or die, the collide or spy. It's Cresta Star. She's here. How you doing, Cresta?
Hi. I'm glad you brought up Collision. Really quickly, as you guys know, Collision is this Saturday. What else is this Saturday? SummerSlam. So that being said, the post show is probably going to be on Sunday. So prepare thyself for that. Besides that, it was a good, okay episode of Impact. It pushed things along. Everyone had a good time and everyone looked great, especially Jonathan Gresham stretched Zachary Wentz like a piece of taffy.
We're going to get into that and everything else as we always do here on the post show. Go ahead. If you're here, leave us a thumbs up on youtube.com/Fightful. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button because we're getting closer to that 100,000 subscriber mark. We want it bad. We want it. Sean wants it before his birthday, which is the end of August. So I think we can get there. Tell your friends to tell your friends to tell your friends to make alt accounts and then join the channel. It's pretty simple, straightforward, right? You can do that. And also, if you want to support us here in other ways, you can subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. Best $5 in the business. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. Or you can donate a super chat. Any question or say any amount, get your question or statement read on the air. It's that little $sign on your youtube.com/Fightful chat window. Or you go to humperchats.com and you can submit that way. Cresta, tell them how.
You can type with your fingers, humperchat.com. Type in your question and be like, Joel, what did you think of Impact tonight? Any dollar amount? Get your question or comment right on air. We get to keep just a tad bit more of the proceeds. Sean Ross Sapp is happy. I'm happy. This British accent is terrible, but it's happy. And so is Joel Pearl. Humperchats.com. Vanna White. Ooh.
I'll be much happier when George Iceman gets me my interview with Scott D'Amore. It's gonna happen.
Manifesting that for you and your father, your estranged father.
I honestly, a couple days ago on Twitter, I just said, I'm gonna say it's Twitter. I don't care what y'all say. I said, oh, Scott's gonna be here at the end of the month in Toronto. I'm here. How about a sit down? And got a lot of traction. People just like, yeah, let's make it happen. And then I had our good pal George Iceman just being like, I'll invite you to the presser. And I'm like, that's a start. He invited me, in fairness, he also invited me to the one in London that I wasn't able to make. But because the one in Toronto is a lot closer, I'm probably going to be at that one. And if I can somehow wrangle a sit down with Scott, I'm gonna do it.
Hollywood Joel Pearl. Hey, we love to see it.
I don't know if I consider myself Hollywood if I interview the president of Anthem, but the president of Impact Wrestling or Anthem, whatever they call it.
The creator of the Canadian Destroyer. You're the coolest man on the planet.
Well, you know. Anyway, let's talk about Impact. Let's hop right into the BTI and our pal George Iceman, who's sitting in the coffee shop, also known as The Office, says that Trinity's going to kick off Impact and she will address her rematch with Deonna Purrazzo. Mentions that Emergence is in Toronto. As I just mentioned, I will be there and we will have a post show on August 27th. Yes, that's the same night as All In. However, we are still going to do our post show as planned because All In is earlier in the day and Impact Emergence is at night. So my plan is to be at the show and then run over to the studio where I did the Hard to Kill. Was it Hard to Kill? No, Rebellion, where I did the Rebellion post show with y'all. And we'll be there. Might even bring a special guest. Who knows? But speaking of a special guest, Iceman mentioned that there would be a special guest for the live audience only. I want to know who that is. Cresta, who the hell's going to show up?
I have no idea. My heart says Monty Brown, but I feel like that's not right.
I don't think Monty's coming north for a local appearance. It feels like a local wrestler is going to be showing up. I don't know who it is.
I feel like everyone in Impact is Canadian. So I'm like, who is local to the area? Taya Valkyrie?
Ty ain't coming. Ty is too busy in AEW.
She might be home.
Ty is from the other side of the country.
Okay, I tried. I do not know Canadian geography. My apologies to our Canadian viewers.
That's like saying a New Yorker is coming in from LA or an LA from New York. It's similar. Vancouver, Toronto, other sides of the country.
I learned something today. Thank you, Joe Pearl.
You're welcome. Yeah, if it's Monty Brown, he better get a standing ovation. He would get a standing ovation. However, I don't think it's Monty Brown because it's just for the live audience. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's another member of Team Canada coming out. A1's going to come back just for the live audience one last time. Who knows?
My heart says low key, but I feel like that's wrong. And you're just saying things.
Low key ain't doing it either.
You're just saying stuff, Cresta.
It ain't gonna be someone in the chat saying PD Williams. Probably PD works for WWE, but if it's off camera, he could make the appearance. Who knows? There's a lot of stuff. I'm looking forward to it. Listen, it got my attention, and I'm sure others who are planning to be at the event. So if you're gonna
go and get the scoops,
I will get the scoops. I'll be there. I'll be standing there with Mr. Iceman, just getting the scoops together. We'll be working together, just tandem. Ice Pearl.
Pearl Ice.
Pearl Ice.
That.
Sounds like a really bad flavor of gum.
All right, Joel. The biggest heel of the business.
Just saying. Anyway, let's get into it. Giselle Shaw versus Heather Reckless. This is a good little match on BTI. I love it. Heather Reckless keeps showing up on the Chicago tapings, and she keeps getting better and better when you put her out there. She looked good in the fire spot towards the last third of the match. Shaw ends up winning as expected, but makes Heather Reckless look great. They do the twisting neck breaker into the denouement for the win. Better match than expected. Good stuff for BTI. What do you think of this Shaw and Reckless match?
I think the last part of what you said is absolutely correct. I kind of expected this to be a squash, but even with the height difference, and they said, this girl is 4'9". That ain't it. I was like, damn, y'all making the short people are angry joke right off rip. It was really good. Giselle Shaw not respecting her and also stopping the 3 count. I think it was twice. Okay, I like this heel version of Giselle Shaw, but at the same time, I mean, she did pin old girl last week from MK Ultra, so no, Giselle Shaw might be coming up for one of them brutal matches, and I'm kind of here for it. I want to see what's gonna happen. I want to see it.
Well, we know that Giselle Shaw and Savannah Evans are going to challenge for the Knockouts tag titles at Emergence. They announced that MK Ultra is going to take on that team of Shaw and Evans. So there's a possibility that other people get added to this tag match as well. We'll talk about that in a few minutes because Death Dolls are still looking for their shot. Let's open up Impact with Trinity, which always goes over well, doesn't it? She made her debut in Chicago, which is where they were taping this past weekend, and she said, I was thinking of giving up on wrestling, and then I landed in Impact, and then I had my debut. I went from the lowest to the highest by winning the Knockouts World Championship, and then out comes Deonna Purrazzo. She says, if we're creating Trinity's debut, it's only fitting that I come out here and interrupt. And then this time, the difference is that Trinity is a Knockouts World Championship, as it holds the Knockouts World Championship, and also the difference is that Deonna, unlike Trinity, isn't a quitter. Crowd reminds her that she did tap out at Slammiversary, and Deonna says, yeah, but nobody beats the Virtuosa twice. Trinity says, bet you I can. And then out come the Coven, and they say, oh, we're sick of Trinity and Deonna running their mouths. Listen, I get it, Coven. I do. Okay.
Wow.
I get it. Every week it's the same these two women just running the show in the Knockouts division. Anyway, they say the crowd, by the way, they're quick to remind Kylan King that she lost to Trinity in Trinity's debut singles match in Impact again. I love that they keep going back to reminding us that the show was in Chicago and there was a bunch of stuff that happened around these 4 women. There's good stuff there. And then Kylan King says that things been different. Maybe there'd be a different Knockouts World Champion in the ring. And Wild just gets on the mic and says, I hate Chicago. And I hate that the Coven was defeated by Trinity. And then she throws tarot cards in Trinity's face. And they attack her. Deonna gets into it. Security comes out. A lot of security. Like 20 men just all in black security guard shirts come out, take on all 4 women, put them to the sides. Out comes Santino Marella. And he says, the Kovan, he calls them. He makes the Kovan versus Trinity and Deonna Purrazzo, he says. The hard T with sit. Anyway, Deonna says, I don't need to get my gear on. I'll fight right now. So they make the match right now. Before we talk about the match, what do you think of this opening segment? Cresta Star.
I'm going to start off and say that this crowd tonight, bless this Chicago crowd, because if you messed up, they were not going to let you forget it. I think that at some point, we're going to have to get new jokes about Trinity walking out. Because you can say, I didn't quit, but no one's ever tapped you out. But Trinity has. So we will have to get new jokes. I'm not saying right now. Just put that in your mouth for later, people. Just put that in your mouth for later. I thought this segment was a great callback because it's a full circle moment. It's the opposite of what happened. And I kind of don't know why the coven came out. I was like, okay. It was one of those moments. It was giving, it should have been me. But how? You lost like the crowd reminded you, Kylan, when you first got out here. It was fine. It was fine. I think Taylor Wilde just saying, I don't really want to talk. I want to fight and not so many words was great too. Little gremlin. I love little gremlins in wrestling have become a thing. And I'm proud of this one. This one got me gal.
Yeah, and by the way, I agree with you fully about the get a different line. Don't just call someone a quitter and move on. Like you're right. It's stale, and I hope this is the last time that we're using it.
Oh, I don't think so, sadly.
Oh, we'll see though. Deonna and Trinity take on the Kovan in a big can they coexist match. I love that Trinity goes and hits the rear view on Wild, goes after it for Kylan King, but instead Kylan King turns it into a German suplex. That's good, solid selling. It ends with Trinity accidentally kicking Deonna Purrazzo in the face. Wild throws Trinity out of the ring, and then Kylan King hits the King's Curse on Deonna, gets the pinfall victory. An excellent opening match. I'm not going to go beat for beat because honestly, it's just worth going out of your way to watch. Cresta, anything to add on this match?
It was a fantastic match. Even in street clothes, both of these girls looked great. I see shades of heel Deonna, and I am excited. I'm feeling very excited right now. I think heel Deonna is when she's at peak. She's got that natural swagger, and I think it'll put a different dynamic on their rematch, which I don't hate. I think Naomi looked great here. I really believed her selling is so good. I believe Kylan King was really killing this girl. I believe that you couldn't tell me anything. I agree with Joel. Please go ahead and watch this match. It is great. That Fujiwara armbar that Deonna Purrazzo locks in on Kylan King twice. I thought she was going to rip that girl's arm out the socket, bro. Go ahead and watch this tag match. Do yourself a favor.
Yeah, definitely. Deonna sold me a ticket both times with those arm bars, and I love that Kylan King was able to reverse them both times and make them look good. It was a really solid match. Go out of your way, go watch it. It'll be up on YouTube for free in a few days. I'm sure of that. So check that out. Rascalz have a segment backstage. They said, "Hey, we're back. It's our first tag match, and we wanted it to be for the tag titles, but we'll settle going all the way in this tag title tournament." By the way, they're running a 14 tag title tournament where the winner faces Subculture at Emergence. We'll talk about that as we get through the night. Scott D'Amore shows up and says, well, we're going to punish you anyway because you keep getting involved in other matches. You've been fined 2 weeks pay. You're still in the tag tournament, but if you do it again, you'll be suspended indefinitely. Now, when we talk about this later on, Cresta, let's remind ourselves of the getting involved again part and the 2 weeks pay and the indefinite suspension. What do you think of this whole thing? Because Scott D'Amore, he's on one. Daddy's trying to get his assert his dominance.
I get that, but here is where I'm going to call back to Jonathan Gresham last week or 2 weeks ago. What are the rules? Are you not in Gorilla, Scott? You're not watching the product while this is going down? Because the Rascalz dead cheated later on that night. What are the rules? What are the rules? I get that you're trying to wrangle things in order, but what are you doing about bully? I get it. But what I'm trying to say is if you're going to be the authority, be the authority. Don't try to pussyfoot the issue, if that makes sense.
It does. I have nothing to add there. Lish is backstage. And she says, I ran Tracy Brooks out of here. And then Jody Threat's like, nah, that's not what happened. Tracy decided that Lish isn't worth her time. Jody then reiterates she doesn't like bullies. That's now Jody Threat's go-to, which is fine because that's going to be the way that Jody Threat can get into fights with heels. That's fine with me. That works for now. She says she doesn't like legends being mistreated, and she doesn't like being talked down to. So Lish challenges Jody Threat to a match. Jody says, let's go. And there you go. Nothing to add there. Lish and Threat are going to be a quick rematch from the first time, right?
Hopefully. Again, I do like this annoying version of Lish. And Jody Threat's hair looked amazing. Whoever curled it, girl, they did that. But it was standard. It was great. Agreed.
There you go. Alan Angels versus Heath. The size discrepancy between these two is hilarious to me. Alan Angels is not a tall man. Heath is very much an unsuspectingly tall man.
Yeah, that is a great way to describe it, because you don't think he's that tall until you see him and you're like, wow, you're tall and broad.
Honest to God, same thing happened with Moxley. When I first saw John Moxley on the streets of Toronto in Kensington Market, I ran into John Moxley and Renee Paquette. I don't think I've told this story on the air with you before. My fiance at the time, now my wife, we were going to meet the photographer for our wedding to do our engagement shoots.
Mm-hmm.
And we were going to do the shoot at Kensington Market downtown in Toronto. And we're walking down the street, going to meet the photographer, and all of a sudden there is Renee wearing like a black puffy hat and just looking like inconspicuous, but she's, platinum blonde, so you can't really miss that. Tiny, she's small, she's short. And then next to her is this big burly dude wearing a hoodie. And I did a double take. I'm like, that's Renee and John. Yes, it turns out that they were in town visiting Renee's family, but I was upset I didn't get a photo. I was dressed all nice too. So upset.
You went upstage and you were doing something well. You didn't want to get DDT'd in the street.
He would have beat my ass. Anyway, Angels going after the knee on Heath is really good stuff. I love it because we're going back to that height discrepancy.
Mm-hmm.
Heath fights back. He's got some good selling. That's kind of the theme of the night, good selling. I love Heath catching the Alan Angels crossbody and turning it into a power slam. Angels misses the halo kick. Heath hits the wake-up call. That's the win. Heath wins over Alan Angels. What are we doing with Alan Angels, Cresta Star?
I was just about to ask you the same question, because I honestly cannot remember a time when he won. I like that he split off from the design, but what is transpiring here? What are we? I could get into the rock star gimmick, but what kind of rock star are we talking? Because it's given one hit wonder, and you haven't even had a hit yet. What are we doing with this guy? This match itself in the rings, he's so fantastic. He's so athletic. And even though he's, for all intents and purposes, stop it, little bug, splat, it was still one of those situations where it's wow. Even commentary was no one can do what he does in the ring. So what are we doing with his booking? What are we doing?
Listen, I know a lot of people are going to laugh when I say this, but just keep having Angels kick people in the dick.
I mean, that is a sound strategy.
It worked. It just works. I don't know. I think that Angels doing that in the Ultimate X match set the tone for what could have been a really just POS heel dynamic, and he would have been so much more fun. I still think he's fun, but I want to see this character evolve beyond whatever he's. I think the Rockstar thing is kind of ridiculous because Angels never had a Rockstar persona coming in. He's never been a rock star. What makes you a rock star? Why are you calling yourself a rock star? What does that do for you? That's my big.
He's a celestial, baby. He transcends.
Anyway, so does Eric Young, and he's backstage with Gia Miller. Says, I knew the design would come and find me. I just didn't think they'd do it that quickly. And he says, I'll show the world what really happened when we faced off in that jail cell last year. So they did. We'll get there. Let's just keep going. Jake Something squashed Davey Vega. Big forearm, big body block into the void, black hole slam as it's called. What's next for Jake Something, Cresta Star?
I don't know, man. That is a large man. Poor Davey Vega. Yeah, he tried. And then when he tried to leave the ring, I'm like, I don't blame you, young man. I didn't sign up for this. I mean, at some point, I hope he doesn't get poached into the I'm Bully Ray and I need someone to do something for me. Maybe, depending on how this Kenny King thing and Joe Hendry thing shakes out, maybe digital media scene, maybe X Division scene. If you want to get real spicy, we could totally do we could totally put him in the main event scene. He's got the look, he's got the speed. He reminds me of Macklin, if you will. He fills that same big meaty void for me. I wouldn't hate it. He wouldn't win, but it wouldn't be bad. It wouldn't be bad at all. So, I don't know.
So here's something really fun that I just saw. AAW, which is a small little indie promotion. Not really though. They're not small. If you know AAW, then you're aware of what they do. Their champion right now is Jake Something. They have a show called The Art of War on August 31st. They just announced their heavyweight championship match. Jake Something versus AEW Heritage Champion Davey Vega.
Well, I'm glad you got your win here, because when I see you again, young man, I'm taking that title off of you and go frolic and play an Impact. See you never, nerds.
Wow. That was really upsetting. Why would you do that? Anyway, I don't know what you do with Jake something in Impact, because he is, if they do something with him in the X division, they've got to pull the trigger sooner than later, or you're about to have Kushida win the X division championship sooner than later, because I don't know what else you can do. You're not going to do Lio Rush versus Jake something, because Jake is being kind of shown off as a heel. He's being presented as a heel. And Lio
or at
Rush,
least a monster. At least a monster.
yeah. So I don't know where you go with that, but I can see Kushida being the smaller looking guy getting the X Division title, and Jake something being like, it's me next, baby.
That is not for nothing. Jake something is a big guy, and I know Kushida could take it, but that's hell on earth to me. Like, if I'm Kushida and I see Jake something, I'm like, oh, nah. I would like to see Jake something versus Black Taurus. I miss Black Taurus, and I want him to come back expeditiously.
Let's go. I love it. Ao sending us a super chat saying, I see Jody Threat being the bully stopper as of late. Your next Bully Ray. Let's go. I want to see Jody Threat versus Bully Ray. I don't know if Bully Ray wants to see Jody Threat versus Bully Ray.
I do kind of, sort of. I feel like at this point, I've been watching a lot of old Impact videos and just seeing Bully Ray, even not old Impact, just Bully Ray through the years. Bully Ray been putting women through tables. I think it's high time the women Impact division need to jump Bully Ray.
No, I don't hate that idea. Knockouts team up on Bully Ray and put him through the table.
Solidarity. No matter what your problem is, for one night, we're going to jump Bully Ray. All of us. All of us. They say that Impact 1000 Awesome Kong gonna be there. We jumping Bully Ray. We jumping up.
They all gang up on Bully Ray, and Awesome Kong is the one who power bombs Bully Ray with the help of the rest of the Knockouts division. There it is. We booked it.
Easy. And nobody in the locker room is gonna help him. Moose is gonna look down for the rest like, that's a damn shame. Scott D'Amore ain't gonna help me. He gonna be blind, and so is Santino. That is, do it. Do not be cowards. Have the whole Knockouts division. Have people come back just to jump him. Taya Valkyrie come back from the dead for one day to jump this man. Don't see me. Woo.
We'll bring Dixie Carter back for Impact 1000 just to let her get that revenge on Bully for that one time she was put through a table. They spent weeks, Cresta, weeks promoting the Dixie goes through a table spot on Impact. They literal weeks. They're like, you don't want to miss this. This is the week where Dixie gets put through a table.
I thought we wanted Dixie to go to the table.
We did at the time. She was like the ultimate heel.
I don't think
they wanted, yeah.
I don't think she should come back for that if we wanted it, though. I mean, I was not watching at the time. I was not partaking in TNA Impact at the time.
Well, now that's the thing. Because Dixie is viewed so positively.
Is she,
now,
or is she polarizing?
No, I think now most people are like, she ain't here anymore, but we can at least appreciate her that she was here once. I think most people who stuck around Impact for better or worse are seen more positively now.
Okay. So all right, come back, get your lick. Listen, as long as Bully Ray get jumped and Taz, my ball's in my back. Taz doesn't respond because he works at AEW.
That's right. They'll just be like, Matt Ray won't my balls. It just doesn't sound the same.
I know you should have worn a cup. I don't know what that accent was. Never mind.
You should have worn a cup.
This is Cup Day.
Anyway,
right,
Bully Moose Myers and Lio Rush. Lio reiterates he's not here to make friends. Moose is like, I don't care. I don't want to be friends with you. I just want you to be on our team. And Leo's like, at Emergence, you can trust me, but this won't last long. And then Bully's like, no, but this could last forever if you just let it happen. And I'm like, that is the corniest shit I have ever heard. And I love it. He's like, Bully says, I made an arrangement with management. And that's big because management doesn't like me. But I want you to see next week what it's like if you're on our side. And then Myers is like, as they're all walking away, Myers is like, lose the boo-boo face, kid. And I just start laughing. It was a good little segment. Clearly, Leo is like the loose cannon of the group. Nobody knows where he falls, but he wants gold. And the people with gold are on the other side of the ring. That being Alex Shelley with the Impact World Championship. What do you think of this whole thing with Bully Moose Myers and Leo?
What in the high school bully tactics is you're gonna be our friend and you're gonna like it. And then Moose straight up says, I don't want to be your friend. To your point of Leo Rush being a loose cannon, that's Moose. I've seen Moose spear people for less. Moose will spear you just because you scuffed his favorite boot. So I don't know if they should be looking at Leo Rush. Also, don't try to force something that doesn't fit. If you gotta, I'm sorry about that. If you gotta force it like a fart, it's probably shit. So I wouldn't do it. I hope that it works out in the end, but Leo Rush is not stupid. I've been watching the product. Why are we trusting Bully Ray in any capacity? What is transpiring here? You guys are quick to call out Scott D'Amore for being unfair, but you trust Bully Ray, the underbelly of society and Impact Wrestling? I could not believe it.
It's true. The lawless Bully Ray is suddenly the one that you want to be on the good side. It doesn't make much sense. It's a little strange. Yes. But also it's Bully, and Bully never makes sense.
He's charismatic. I'm surprised he hasn't done a cult leader gimmick yet. With the amount of people that he's been able to trick, Alexander, Good Hands, Moose Myers, what was that team he was on when he was trying to put what's her name before oh my god, Hardcore Country, what's
Mickey
her
James.
Name? Mickey James, thank you. Mickey James was trying to put her through a table. He was in a multi-man match and he was just being a piece of crap. Anyway,
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, like he can recruit so many people. So like, I'm surprised he hasn't done a cult leader gimmick because this man, he knows the words. He's a snake whisperer. I don't know.
I mean, Aces and Eights was kind of a cult. They were a motorcycle cult. Like Eric Young should have been in Aces and Eights because he came out with that motorcycle, right? You know.
I mean, you got to be committed to marry Brooke Hogan. That's commitment.
That's fair.
That's commitment.
It's true. There's one thing you're going to do. It's stay away from a Hogan. Anyway, Digital Media Championship time. Kenny King, Joe Hendry, and Yuya Uemura. Joe Hendry comes out and says, life is full all about lessons. Life is short, but Joe Hendry title reigns are long. Sometimes you need to let your friends interject themselves into your contractually obligated rematch. And then, of course, they do the two words we believe.
Your only contractual obligated rematch.
Right. And I love the commentary brings that up at the beginning. And I'm just like, oh, yeah. Oh, damn, that sucks. But anyway, Yuya comes out and he just says, Yuya Uemura, champion. And that's it. Out comes Kenny King. They have a really fun match. Yuya's out for a little while and just lets Kenny King and Joe Hendry beat each other up. Comes in with fire, goes off on both men. Yuya goes with a crossbody. I love that Hendry reverses it into a big cutter. And then at the end, King rams Yuya into Joe Hendry, falls out to the outside. King hits the royal flush, pins Yuya, retains the title. Good stuff here. What did you think of the Triple Threat Digital Media Championship match?
First, my personal feelings. Joe Hendry should have won that match because I love Joe Hendry, even though he's not a good guy. And I know he's playing with my face, but I'll let it happen. Objectively speaking, that was the right outcome. You knew when Sheldon G came out with Kenny King, ain't no way. There is now a story between Yuya and Joe Hendry, which is great, which gets, I feel like, Hendry at least away from the digital media scene for a minute. If he wants to go back to it, which I kind of feel like it's time for him maybe to do like an X Division sort of thing, or maybe even a tag sort of thing. I think the digital media will be fine without him, or maybe he might be a little bit more heel because he didn't want to shake Yuya's hand. Yuya was like, let's Ring of Honor, fight with honor, and Joe Hendry's like, ain't no honor in this square circle, baby. I'm not your friend. So I didn't hate it. It was a good match. The match itself was great. Again, I just personally wish Joe Hendry should be your digital media champion. Because who else is making music videos like him? Not Kenny King. Yuya wasn't going to do it. Speedball wasn't doing it. Speedball was X Division. Never mind. I retract that statement.
Thank you. I was about to say, like, what are you getting in with Speedball?
Speedball is a nice guy. You could tell by his promo this evening.
He's very optimistic. He and Gresham are with Gia Miller backstage, and Bailey is like, I had to convince Jonathan Gresham to join this tournament because of how rules are enforced in Impact. And then Gresham's just like, no, you mean how rules are ignored in Impact. And then Bailey's just like, I think we can win with our superior skill and our optimism. And Gresham's just like, yeah, optimism doesn't win matches. We just have to have each other's backs. And he walks out. And I'm just like, I see both sides. Gresham might be onto something, though.
I agree with that. Every other week, someone getting spray painted. Let's not even talk about the time when Madison Rayne was just cheating everyone out her boots, bro. I like Mike Bailey, so please don't nobody take this no type of way, but I cannot stand an optimistic if we just believe in the heart of the cards that, oh my God, that is so, you know they are cheaters. You can fight with honor all you want, but if you say we're only going to use our fists, they're pulling up with a gun, bro. Why do you believe cheat? Like, be for real. Be for real. I hate overly optimistic people like that. I get it. Like, if you're with your skills, okay, your skills, you got spray painted in the face. What you gonna do with that? Be for real. I love Mike Speedball, but please do not give him that stupid, I'm a baby face, so there's nothing that could ever, I will fight someone. I will scream gutturally. I will go feral.
He's always been that way. Speedball's always been a little bit like aloof white meat baby face in Impact. He's always just been like, again, Kenny King spent months trying to make Speedball lose his mind, and he didn't do it until they did the pit fight when Speedball kicked him in the head and won the match.
I mean, he got kicked in the head, and now he's digital media champion.
And let's fast forward. Let's go to that tag match. Rascalz and Gresham and Bailey, they team up. It's another good match. I don't think that the finish was in doubt. However, Gresham was proven right. Gresham and Trey are going at it. I know you're gonna want to spotlight a couple spots here, which is great. But Trey gets tossed the spray paint from the outside from Wentz and sprays Gresham in the face, and then pulls the tights and gets the win. This is exactly what Gresham is talking about when it comes to Impact. And now he's gonna probably come out, be real pissed off because he's not going to team with Bailey anymore, most likely. He's going to want to find his own way through Impact, and he's going to complain about rules. So what's next for Gresham and Bailey? And let's talk about this match real quick.
Honestly, if Jonathan Gresham keep on keeping on, I could see him joining like a Moose and a Bully. Since there's no rules, it doesn't matter. Because if I'm in the mind of Jonathan Gresham, look at how many chances and opportunities Bully gets, no matter how many people's wives he put through tables, people he set on fire, how many times he threatened to beat up the literal owner he gets to do whatever he wants. So why should I try? I understand Speedball's advantage too. Like, bro, I didn't have to cheat, and I was X Division champion for a mad long time. So I get what you're saying, but don't be like those guys. But I'm more side with Gresham here. The match itself was really nice. Zachary Rents, like I said at the top, got stretched like a piece of taffy. Gresham was giving it to him, and I thoroughly enjoyed Jonathan Gresham's match. Like, I know a lot of people don't like submission groundwork matches sometimes, but to me, he is up there. I don't care, fight your mama, but he's up there with Malenko with the holds. Danielson, he's somebody. I'm like, yo, grip him, hold him, get him. Yeah, he's that guy. I like him. And also not commentary saying, yeah, he reminds me of Steph Curry, and Ray Walt saying, I don't know one Stephanie Curry.
I loved that. That was for me. That was a perfect moment. Thank you,
That's for me too, because that's what I do with CM Punk. What does CM Punk stand for? Coco Melon, Christian Mingle, chicken and mashed potatoes. It stands for something different every time. I appreciated that joke. But yeah, I want to know what happens with Gresham. And if Gresham goes like, I'm gonna knock on wood because I don't want this faction to come back. But if he goes like an Honor No More, I get it. I get it.
No.
I mean, like, not literally Honor No More, but if like no more rules, the only thing I can come was Honor No More. It makes sense. I understand it. I completely understand it. Oh, is he really gonna join with Bully? I could see that. But yeah, it makes sense.
I think Gresham is more likely to grab. Oh, I can't believe I'm gonna say this. Edwards and Alan Angels. And I don't mind seeing Alan Angels because again, with like Gresham being like, no more kicking people in the dick. And Angels being like, fine, I won't kick people in the dick. And then Angel starts winning by not kicking people in the dick. And he starts turning Angels into super serious wrestler. Oh my God, Dango with them would be so bad. Sorry, I think it's super serious wrestler. But Gresham Angels and Edwards would probably
honestly, with Dango, at first I was like, now Joe Pearl. And then I was like, but wait a minute. Hold on here. Dango is already a jerk and he's kind of yuck. But super serious Dango with Jonathan Gresham, man, I hate pro wrestling. Well, great. I'm glad that we're just wrestling.
There is something.
I don't hate it.
There is something to that. I don't know if they'll do it, but there is something to that. Rascalz and Gresham and Bailey was part of that tag team tournament that I mentioned. It's a 4-team tournament, not a 14-team tournament. I never said it, but someone in the chat thought that I said 14 teams. No,
it's a lot of teams.
4 teams. I'm a little congested, so maybe 4 sounds like anyway. And that includes, so it was Rascalz, and then they were taking on Gresham and Bailey. The Rascalz win, so they're going on next week, or in 2 weeks, I should say. They're going to face the winner of Ace of Base versus Swan and Callahan. That match is next week. So I think it's pretty safe to say Rascalz and Ace of Base are going to have a matchup in 2 weeks, and the winner gets Subculture at Emergence. I like it. I'm fine with it, and not much else I can say. If this is how the Rascalz get to the World Tag Title match, I'm okay with it.
Agreed. I think it's fine. I just say that if my rule of thumb is if you're going into a tag team match and the other team has a name and a song and you are just Bob and Billy, yikes.
Yeah. AO sending a super chat saying reform the foundation. Could you imagine you do the foundation and it's Gresham, Angels, and Edwards?
Okay, hold on. Now, hold on, y'all. I haven't been watching Impact Wrestling. I've heard of the foundation, but I don't know what the foundation is.
Okay, so the foundation was actually a Ring of Honor stable.
Mm-hmm.
And Red Titus was in it. Gresham obviously was in it. Hot Sauce Tracy Williams was in it. Jay Lethal at one point was in it. Josh Woods. Chris Ridgway was kind of a part of it. But yeah, it was a 2-year stable that basically was formed during the pandemic or just before the pandemic.
And was it like based around like, I would say
pure wrestling.
Okay, I'm about to say mat work, foundation. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, the foundations of pure wrestling. The foundations of wrestling.
Why was Jay Lethal there?
Well, because once upon a time, Jay Lethal was one of those was a super serious wrestler in Ring of Honor.
Okay, fair. Because every time I think of Jay Lethal, I can think of this dopey mad old man because they shut down Space Mountain.
Stop it. Anyway. So yeah, next week Ace of Base take on Swan and Callahan, Samurai del Sol, Tate, and Laredo Kid and Black Taurus. By the way, Samurai del Sol is the former Kalisto from WWE. They're going to take on the team of Moose Myers and Bully. This is such a weird triple threat because these 3 guys, Samurai del Sol, Laredo Kid, and Black Taurus, are flippy floppy flyers and to the nth degree, and they're taking on Moose Myers and Bully. I'm kind of hoping that Moose Myers and Bully do a lot of base work for these guys, but like I'm not convinced that they will.
I hope, but also too, I'm not. Wait, who you say it was the former Kalisto, Black Taurus? Who was the third person?
Laredo Kid.
Okay. All 3 of them are known for their ups, but all of them got mat work too, especially Black Taurus. That's a wall.
Yeah, well, Black Taurus is definitely the base in the lucha matches for these 3 guys. But now you got Bully the base, Moose the base, Myers is kind of a base. It's a really weird trios match. I'm looking forward to seeing. I have no notes from what happened at the tapings in this match, but it just sounds like the most weird random trios match you could put together, and I'm all for it.
Listen, somebody gotta make Moose and Myers and Bully look good.
And if you want to look good, subscribe to us here at FightfulSelect.com. The best $5 in the business. SummerSlam is this weekend, as we talked about at the top. And if you want notes and news and info and all the scoops from this wonderful weekend of SummerSlam, we'll have it for you at FightfulSelect.com. Sean Ross Sapp is in Detroit as we speak. He's getting all the news, so you'll find it on FightfulSelect.com. You want to learn more about the Elite re-signing their contracts with AEW? We got the details on FightfulSelect.com. The best $5 in the business. Becky and Trish aren't on the SummerSlam card. Cody and Brock, what happened? Why aren't they doing a stipulation match? You want all that? News is over on FightfulSelect.com, along with tons of podcasts. Sean Ross Sapp did a live Q&A today. You have the Weekender podcast with Steven Jensen. Steven Jensen is often here after the Impact pay-per-view events running down the show, but he also does a ton of indie wrestling content over at the Weekender podcast, coexisting after dark, of course, with Rob and Maggie, and Sour Graps with Alex Pulowski, and sometimes our ROH co-host, Kate Elizabeth. Go check that out. $5 a month. It's all the news. It's all the content. It's so very worth it. FightfulSelect.com. Bing, bing.
Bing bong. We didn't do at the top, so I had to get it this time.
Thank you for that. Death Dolls. They won in on this KO tag title match that we mentioned earlier in the night. But for some reason, Crazy Steve runs in and says, hey, why is Rosemary letting Courtney Rush do all the talking for you? And Rush is like, good question, and just runs off of Jessica. She's trying to keep something from Jessica, isn't she?
Magic. But also, I was wondering wait a minute. How do you know Crazy Steve technically, but also y'all been ignoring Crazy Steve? I always wondered about that. And I like how she was like, you know what? That is a good question. And much like the Eric Young promo, I have footage, but the footage is over there. I gotta go, bye.
It's so I like that they're trying to bring this around. I don't know. Do you think they'll be added into that tag match, make it a triple threat for the Knockouts tag titles?
I could see it. And that would be Death Dolls, MK Ultra, and Evans and Shaw. If you want to keep Evans and Shaw stronger just for a little bit longer, I could see Death Dolls taking the pin, or even have the Coven do some shenanigans with that, because the Coven, you know how they feel like we're all right now they're dealing with Trinity and these girls, but they're not going to be doing that for too much longer. I could actually see it being a fatal 4-way and you resetting the division. And if there's any other tag teams that step up or form up after this, you can really get a hard reset and let MK Ultra stand strong.
I don't know if we want to reset because we just had new champions crowned.
But I'm trying to think of, okay, so Savannah Evans and Shaw is kind of new. Yeah. You got Death Dolls and you got the Coven. And who else?
Yeah.
Yikes.
That's always been the thing, though. There are rarely multiple women's tag teams around that are fully signed with Impact. We don't know where Tasha Steelz is.
I was getting ready to say, where the hell is Tasha Steelz? Didn't she come back recently and then she was never heard from again?
Came back, worked a program with Giselle Shaw, and since then has not been on TV. Don't know what's going on. It has been asked. It has not been answered. But apparently she's just they're gonna bring her back soon, is what I've figured.
She went to the Undead Realm to look for Taya Valkyrie and Jordan Grace. There we go.
There we go. Yeah, she's gonna come back with Taya. Not with Taya. She's gonna come back with Jordan as a tag partner.
Period. Let's do it.
And then finally, after everything was said and done, we see the footage. Eric Young's not dead. Eric Young is actually an idea, and he will live forever. They replay what happened in the jail cell at last year when Diener stabbed Eric Young and everything that led into that. And then they show up until Diener walking away. And then all of a sudden, Eric wakes up coughing, spitting blood, and then he laughs and he crawls away. He crawls himself out of the jail, outside, gets on a motorcycle, wearing these great big glasses that they just look good. And then he drives off into the darkness. And he's like, and then he just does this whole long soliloquy about life, death, total opposites, but one can't exist without the other. Talks about the beauty of death. He says he's not dead yet. A man can be killed, his body disposed of, but an idea is eternal and it can live forever. And then Eric Young says, I am an idea and I will live forever. And I'm like, what is this? I don't know how I feel about it. It felt kind of campy, but let's face it, Cresta, this whole thing has been campy for a long time with Violent by Design, and now the design. What are we doing?
So I'm going to tell you why I played myself, because like most wrestling fans, I booked myself into fantasy booking, and I thought we were about to see some Cody Dean saying, God damn it, Eric, I can't do this. Run, Simba, and never return. And never return. And I'll never tell anyone because you raised me. I'm going to tell you what I liked. I liked that they showed all iterations of Diener, from Cody Diener, cousin Diener, into the brainwashing and into the design now. But I have seen this before, and indulge me. Are you familiar with RuPaul's Drag Race, Joel?
Let the crowd in on this.
All right. So, for the sake of brevity, in RuPaul's Drag Race, it was an episode where you had to turn yourself into like Night of the Living Dead. And this one girl came down, looked like a stoned fried chicken. And her description of it was, after a long night of hooking, Trey didn't like the session, so he gutted me. But I had not died. I had crystallized. And now I'm a bad bitch ready for the runway. And that's exactly how I felt about that Eric Young promo. I had not died. I'm a thought. And because I'm a thought, I live on forever and legends never die. And that's when I knew I had to turn my brain off, and I started laughing because I'm like, ain't no way. And I had high hopes, and I blame myself. But I literally got hit with the I had not died. I had crystallized. And I'm like, you know what? You got me, gal. You got me, gal, because I'm going to tune in next week. You damn right I'm going to tune in next week. I thought it was funny at the end of it all, because what I expected is not what I got. And I'm like, you know what? That serves you right.
It was a really strange segment. It was almost as if like they got Eric coming back, and Eric was like, I have an idea. And then Scott was just like, all right, I'll hear you out because you've been here for like 20 years and you haven't screwed up yet. And then Eric was just like, okay, so I get on this motorcycle. And Eric was just like, or not Eric, Scott is just like, all right, you get on the motorcycle, now what? And it's just, it's not bad. It's just very... Like someone in the chat, I hope jokingly says this is cinema. Now, I think it was shot very well. I think it was beautifully shot. The driving sequence and everything. I thought that the soliloquy was very just like, why are we doing this? But overall, like, I see what he's trying to do. If he's trying to say I am going to live forever, Eric Young's done a really good job of repackaging himself and coming back here and there and doing all the things, you know, in Impact. He has literally done like everything you can think of. And if that's what Eric Young is, and that's what his legacy is going to be, I don't hate this segment. But if I'm watching it for the first time and I am a new fan and I've never watched Impact before, I am confused as hell.
I'll give you that. I'll even add too, because I think that in my laughing, some people are like, damn, Cresta, you hate it. Let me tell you what could have been improved upon. And I think the shooting was great. Even the soliloquy was great. But I feel like you needed to pick one or the other, what story you were trying to tell. I agree with you. I've seen Eric Young be a crazy cult leader in a beard, Team Canada, red and white, that he will and can live forever. I just feel there was a disconnect between the way the video package we got versus the voiceover we got. I believe that I blame myself for thinking that there was going to be some sort of, you couldn't even finish the job and now I got to come back and clean up the mess you created. Maybe I'm thinking too much inside of the box. It was great. I just feel like there were two different ideas happening at the same time. I can't wait to see where it goes. It kind of gave me the vibe that Eric Young is going to be like, even last week when he was talking to Nick Aldis, is going to be, well, we all have choices to make. And I choose to make this. I don't want that. I want crazy Eric Young. I want what I want, and I'm being stubborn. I mean, let me not say maybe, he will do it good, because I give that to Eric Young. When Eric Young commits to something, no matter, he could be wrestling in a garbage can, a piece of paper, and it's going to be a good Eric Young match. So I have faith, but I kind of don't want this benevolent. Yes, I love wrestling and I love you, and we all have to make choices. And tonight I'll make a vibe. I don't want that. That's just me. That's just me.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff that exists here. And again, I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt because often Impact will pay off a lot of this stuff, especially in the last few years. And again, Eric Young, as I said, has been around for so long and has done everything you can think of. So why not give him a little bit more creative license to do this? So as a result, again, watching it in the moment, I'm just like, the hell is this? But then after, as we think about it, we talk about it as we always do, it becomes a little clearer that like, okay, I can sit with this for another week. I know that they're going into a design versus Eric Young story, right? And now it's just Diener and Khan. So it doesn't matter. It's just going to be Diener and Khan, and then eventually Diener's going to need a friend, and they'll do a tag match, and then the big blow-off will be Diener versus Eric Young, and that's good. Yeah. I'm wondering how we get there. If this is step one, that's not a bad place to start.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I also have a lot of faith in not AEW, Impact Wrestling, because this is the cycle of Cresta, especially with Bully Ray. Oh my God, this guy. Then the match comes on, he's like, yo, this match was good. I hate you. So I know I'm gonna go through it, but maybe they needed that kind of soft soliloquy, like make your choices in life and I'll live forever. Because imagine if they did it, you would think they were gonna play Born to Be Wild. He wanted to be serious. So
well, that's Saturday. Saturday is the Born to Be Wild.
Wait, isn't that in Detroit? Don't you mean Motor City?
Yeah, they had a backstage segment too. Actually, I really love that. Real quick, I love that Chris Sabin is like, I'm gonna beat Leo Rush and become a 10-time X Division champion, and then Kushida just lifts up the X and is like, and that's the end of the segment. I love it. They did that. Just that little thing was good enough. But
because they gotta fly out to their home to go see SummerSlam.
That's right. We're all going to go over and see SummerSlam. That's this weekend. Go check out. There's tons of SummerSlam content that's going to be on the site. So go check that out. Cresta Star, what you else got going on?
All right. Like I said at the top of this show, I normally do Collision on Saturday with your best friend Iridian Riccicino and sometimes Sean Rossat, but it has come to my extreme attention. I think all three of them are going to be at SummerSlam. Where was my invite? I will write this down. Cresta Star will remember this. I don't know when we're going to do the post show. It'll probably be that Sunday. Keep your eyes and ears tuned on Fightful's Twitter, my Twitter, Joel's Twitter, Jesus's Twitter, whatever. But you can follow me on Twitter at Cresta the Star. I'm live every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, resuming next week for AEW and WWE respectively on those days. My brain is turning off, so I don't have anything else to add. Joel Pearl, where can they find you?
Not hard to find. I am at Joel Pearl, JOELPEARL. You can find me on Fightful Overbooked Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 10 a.m. Eastern until noon, going in the weeds with Jeremy Lambert. Tomorrow, we have a guest. Who is our guest? I know that Haley is planning to join us. Those who know Haley from Tag Talk, she's planning to join us. And Jay Crest is going to join us. Speaking of Impact, Jay Crest will be with us tomorrow at 11 a.m. on Friday morning. So check that out in the weeds. We'll be talking about Pro Wrestling Revolver, which happens to be Sami Callihan's promotion. So we'll be talking about that and a whole swath of other things as we do in the weeds. And of course, Kate and I will be live on Sunday on Fightful Overbooked going out, talking about wrestling. Just wrestling.
Who doesn't love wrestling?
Exactly. Until then, ladies, gentlemen, friends beyond the binary, we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.